Swerving to avoid potholes, how MoDOT plans to make your drive smoother.
Twin sisters with Olympic-sized dreams, so what happens when there's only one spot left on the team?
Whipping winds coming in with a cold front not coming in quietly. We've got a high wind up and talking about what's going on in your forecast. KOMU 8 News at 10 starts now.
From Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
It is a windy Thursday evening for sure. Much of our viewing area is under a high wind advisory. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. Let's send it straight over to Rosie to see where those advisories are.
Thanks, guys. I can give you a first peek of them here. These high wind advisories in effect until midnight tonight. They've only gone up. We've got a lot to talk about in your immediate forecast. I'll give you more details coming up later in the cast.
Winter is far from over, but a problem that normally pops up in the spring is already taking its toll on drivers. You've probably hit a pothole or two. MoDOT officials say the extreme changes in temperature caused potholes to pop up earlier than usual this year. We spoke with a local auto repair shop owner, and he said potholes can damage tires, suspension components, and if it's deep enough, a pothole can actually ruin the entire undercarriage of your car.
Yeah, I would just say really paying attention. Checking your tire pressures is really important, because if you're running low tire pressure, it's going to be that much easier to damage a tire or a wheel when you do hit a pothole. So that's...
You can report potholes to the state highway system by calling MoDOT, or you can report a road concern by going to our website, KOMU.com, and clicking on that link. We asked you on our Facebook page if you've seen any big potholes and if you've had any problems so far. There's a lot of people joining in on the conversation and sharing where they're seeing the biggest problem areas. Head over to our Facebook page to share your experience.
Contractors are starting to prepare for a $5.9 million construction project on Columbia's southwest side. The first phase means a sidewalk near the intersection of Scott Boulevard and Vaughter School Road will close for 6 to 8 weeks. Columbia Public Works plans to turn the intersection into a roundabout. It also plans on rebuilding the bridge over Hinkson Creek and raising it by about 9 feet. Public Works says it will prevent flooding in the future. The city has not set a date for the actual construction, but says it should begin in the next 30 days or so. It will be closed, the road will be closed for months. For more information on the Scott Boulevard project, you can visit our website, KOMU.com.
Developing news for you tonight. Police negotiators were able to talk a man out of an apartment in Jefferson City after he allegedly fired shots in the area. Officers responded to the 1100 block of East McCarty, where they believed the suspect was held up in an apartment. The police department called both the SWAT team and crisis negotiation team to the scene, where a negotiator reached the man via cell phone and was able to talk him into coming out safely. The exact cause of a strange illness at a Jefferson City school is still a mystery tonight. Classes were back in session today after the school shut down yesterday. The principal told KOMU that all air and water quality tests came back negative. He said the school's environment has tested safe and free of any contaminants. He suspects that some unrelated illness caused the outbreak, but he's still not completely sure. Some students started feeling lightheaded, and others even developed a rash during a morning church service yesterday.
A Missouri lawmaker told a House panel this morning he wants prosecutors to go after people who post explicit videos or photos of their ex-lovers online. It's called revenge porn. Farmington Republican Kevin Engler says it's embarrassing and ruins lives. He wants revenge porn to be a felony. Offenders would go to prison for up to 4 years.
Governor Jay Nixon is proposing an additional $4.5 million for a program that offers customized worker training for companies that create or retain jobs in Missouri. Now, the funding boost would go to Missouri Works Training. Nixon will release his budget recommendations next week. He said that skilled employees are very important for the economy and that his administration is focused on strengthening the state's workforce. A federal appeals court panel in St. Louis is considering the constitutionality of Missouri's flag desecration law. The panel is hearing arguments in the case of Cape Girardeau resident Frank Snyder. Now, Snyder was arrested back in 2009 for cutting up an American flag, throwing it in the street, and trying to set it on fire. Prosecutors eventually dismissed the charge after learning of a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that declared a similar law in Texas unconstitutional. In 2012, a federal judge ruled Missouri's law was unconstitutional, but Attorney General Chris Koster appealed that decision.
Two Missouri State employees were fired after a disabled student was left on a school bus for nearly 6 hours. The two worked at Lakeview Woods State School in Lee's Summit and also worked for bus company First Student. The student was in a wheelchair and couldn't talk. The school reported itself to the state's Child Abuse and Prevention Hotline. It's implementing new procedures to make sure nothing like this happens again. Columbia police are investigating a morning shooting. They say a man was walking behind houses on McKee Street in northeast Columbia. A second man pulled a gun and demanded money. The walker was shot in the shoulder. The gunman grabbed his money and ran off. The man who was shot has been released from the hospital.
After nearly 10 years behind bars, Columbia's Ryan Ferguson is now updating his new life outside of prison on the social networking site Twitter. He picked a fitting handle at Life After 10, but the account was suspended as of this evening. Ferguson was convicted of the 2001 murder of Columbia Daily Tribune sports writer Kent Heitholt, but was released in November after an appeals court vacated his conviction. Ferguson's first tweet was at ABC Legal Affairs anchor Dan Abrams, who welcomed him to Twitter. He credited his girlfriend for coming up with his Twitter handle. Social media played a large role in gathering a following for Ferguson's appeal case, and Ferguson thanked his followers for their support.
It's the last stop before we get down to work and changing the justice system and helping other people prove their innocence. Over the last 2 months, so much has gone on, and it's nice to have the opportunity to sit back and look at all of the help that you guys have given us, all the support.
We have much more on that story on our website, KOMU.com. There you can read his first tweets and watch a video posted on Facebook about his plans. One sister is giving up her life dream for her twin. Their story is coming up next.
In a fast-moving brush fire scorching California, find out who's to blame.